Welcome to the Drunk Linux User. I'm Len. I am the Drunk Linux User. And today we're going to be talking about something that does have a number of people in the Linux community concerned, and that's the behemoth called Microsoft and their involvement in the Linux systems at this time. We're going to talk about a lot of different things here, and it's going to get a little more whimsical towards the end, so let's just get through the meat of it right now. This article was written back in December of 2020, and it's talking about Microsoft's involvement in the open source and Linux communities. They have been getting heavily involved in the Linux systems, and even in putting in patch code suggestions and requests for our kernel. And that's a little worrisome. Primarily because once Microsoft starts getting their meat hooks into a system or a software or another company, they have something called EEE that's in force, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But as you can see through this listing here, just last year alone, they were heavily involved in Linux. Now, why would a company with a proprietary system called Windows be so interested in Linux, and why did they decide to work so heavily with Ubuntu, and why is Ubuntu working so heavily with Microsoft to incorporate the two into their operating systems? Very good questions. That EEE that I was expressing before is Embrace, Extend, and Extinguish. That is something that came out of a U.S. Versus Microsoft court case where one of the people trying the case was expressing their concern about how Microsoft will embrace a technology that a competitor has. They'll extend the capabilities of said technology, and by their sheer size and willingness to be able to just throw all kinds of money into it, they'll actually extinguish the competition. We're concerned in the Linux community because it's right now, unless you get a specific form of Linux that's designed for more corporate uses, you can get a desktop for free. You can get all kinds of software for free. But if Microsoft gets their hooks into the Linux community, will that remain the same? They purchased GitHub, and GitHub used to be basically a free, and it still is, I understand that. It used to be a free system for people to be able to put their software code up and put in patch requests for bugs that people find, and to be able to release out new versions before it actually goes out to the world. And once they bought that, a lot of people decided they were going to jump ship. So where'd they go? They went to another place called GitLab. And there are others as well. But SourceForge is another one, as an example, that Microsoft currently does not have, as far as I know, in their ownership repository. So we're a little concerned, and I think rightly so, about the EEE, Embrace, Extend, and Extinguish. Now, this is interesting. I did not write this article. Kind of wish I did, but I didn't. This gentleman right here, Stephen J. Von Nichols, says, Windows 11, just say no. There's a lot of reasons why he mentions that. Part of it is because we know from experience that every once in a while, drivers for equipment that you may have peripherals may not be compatible with that version right away. And just hold off if you're really thinking about upgrading. As far as the features, he doesn't make it sound like there's really all that much new, other than just, a new look. Microsoft is claiming that they have new security systems that will make Windows 11 much more secure. But as he states down here, Windows 10 already has a lot of this. And he mentions, as Jason Perlow recently pointed out, If you're running the 20H2 release of Windows 10, October 2020, as a consumer, business, or enterprise, you can take advantage of these new security features if you deploy group policy or simply click into Windows 10 device security menu to switch them on. And there's a link in this article that will take you there if you're on Windows 10 and you want to have the Windows 11 security features. Interesting. So his recommendation is at this particular time, especially if your system cannot work with the new operating system, Windows 11, then you don't probably have a need to go out and buy new equipment just to run Windows 11 if you're concerned about the security aspect of it. So we'll leave this article up as well. I like this. Windows 11 look inspired by KDE Plasma and GNOME. Well, yeah, actually, you can see a lot of that in here. And this article goes through the differences between Windows 11 and KDE primarily. There are references to GNOME, but mostly you'll notice that it does look an awful lot like KDE. That KDE right out of the box right now. This is a KDE start menu, and there are very, very similar looks between window decorations, layouts, color palettes, the dark modes, desktop widgets. It goes on and on. But if you'll notice down here, it also mentions, not sure what the future holds, but it seems the EEE is in the works with full force. This article was written and published, where do we have? 3 months ago. So not that long ago. This article shows that someone made Ubuntu look just like Windows 11. Which, what they've done is they've taken something like Kubuntu, and they've added on themes that you can go to the store.kde.org website, and you can pick up all these different little extensions and widgets and things and make your KDE look just like Windows 11. I don't know why you'd want to do such a thing, but this particular distribution has it all set up for you if you don't want to go through the minor hassle, and I do mean minor, of putting this together. This article is about what Windows 11 can learn from Linux's KDE Plasma Desktop. As I've put in the show notes, I don't know if I'd want to give Microsoft any hints or pointers on how to make it better. I think I'd probably try to divert them into something different, but they are showing the differences and the similarities between the two. And if Microsoft is interested in making 11 look better, there are some things that KDE definitely can show to improve. If you want to make your Linux desktop, specifically KDE, look like Windows 11, God knows why you would, but if you do, this page will give you all of the information, what you need, including the Plasma, the Windows, taskbar, tray icons, start menu. Like I said, this is a minor way of being able to add all these things together in KDE to make your desktop look like Windows 11. Again, I don't know why you would, but some people like to have that uniformity if they dual boot, or perhaps even if they're running Windows 11 in a virtual machine, if they can do that, or they're using a virtual machine to run Linux. And if they want to have the same visual styles, I can get that. All right. So, boy, this is kind of funny, a little worrisome, but kind of funny at the same time. And keep your fingers crossed that the Linux world will remain open source free, and that Microsoft won't declare one day that, hey, we have enough of our code in the Linux kernel, it should be ours, and we're going to buy out that technology, and we're going to make Linux ours. There's been talk about Linux possibly becoming the future of Windows. I don't know how credible that is. There are ways of being able to make Windows programs work in Linux. One of them being virtual machines, but the other is called Mono, and the other one is called Wine. Wine is not an emulator. That's what Wine stands for. Wine is not exactly the most perfect way of being able to run Windows programs in Linux, but it's darn good and getting better all the time. Could Microsoft be looking at all of this as a future way of getting around all those nasty bugs, viruses, and malware and everything else that they're plagued with, and run with a much more streamlined kernel and operating system requiring lower RAM? Wow, these all sound like pluses and winners to me. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see, but I don't know if the future is that bright that I have to wear shades right now. So we're going to end up with our words of wisdom. Don't drive drunk. Don't drink and drive. Don't go to Amazon or eBay and buy crap that you don't need or want because you're all buzzed up and you think, oh, this looks cool. Probably isn't. More Go Juice. Another crazy, lazy, gray day. Bottoms up. Later, dudes. Love the Go Juice.